My name is Padraig Corcoran, and we're here this evening in Mount Plunkett, and we have a mixed farm here. We do sheep and dry cattle, and I suppose the difference with us is we would farm very sensitively with nature, and we would be, I suppose, classed a high biodiversity or high nature value farm. The farm itself, there's about 54 acres here on the farm. It's an unusual type of a holding. It's part of an estate, and I suppose we're very fortunate. We have heritage buildings on it, and we've good agricultural land, and we have good woodland and wet woodland and species-rich wet grassland and a riverfront, and we've land suitable for crops, and it lends itself very well to high nature. To us it's everything. It's a beautiful place to rear children. It's not difficult to farm, even though you might think it is. Once you get your system in place and you're conscious of what you do and the effects that it can have on the wider part of it, that farming isn't just about animals. Land needs animals, and farming is part of animals, but farming to us is broader than that. It's about being sensitive and compassionate to the environment that you're working in. This is just as we entered the farm, and we just done a small little wildlife hedgerow here along, just to create shelter for our field, and also give it's a link corridor really, and we say we have the rabbits in it, and we have all the different species of trees. We put white thorn, black thorn, gilder rose, bird cherry, hazel, and just to name, black currants, gooseberries, and it just provides a food, a shelter, a habitat, nectar, and it's just something small and something simple, but it plays such a part, and it's beautiful to see as well. So much wetlands has been abandoned, and it's just sad to see, because the part to play within the environment and in our wildlife cycle and our wintering birds is massive, and the loss of that wetland wintering habitat will have to be addressed, because they're all on the decline, and it's difficult land to work with, but it's about preparing it for the next spring or next winter to come. And what we have done here is we rotate our grazing, and this is ground that we have left all spring into summer for the nesting, and then we have grazed it and topped it and allow it to come back. And this wet soft grass is going to be the feeding ground for the wintering birds, the ducks, the swans, all the different species that will winter here, and it's also our spawning area for our frogs in the spring. Here's a perfect example now of our grass that was eating this morning being recycled and put back into the ground, and to see how healthy these droppings are and the amount of insect and everything that's here before that absorbs into the ground at all. And I think it's a lost opportunity really of how much emphasis we have put on slatted houses and slurry, and when we can spread it and all. When the animals do this is the most natural product that comes, and the whole ecosystem that evolves around this is so important to the nutrients into the ground, to the insect that's on them, to the birds that probe it and feed them. Sadly, too many of these beautiful old buildings has been knocked down, and this is the saviour of the barn owls, old buildings like this. This is where your bats have all the place to roost. In the chimney here, the barn owl nests, the kestrel nest. You get a lot of other birds in the ivy nesting. The ivy produces huge amount of food, nectar, brilliant for the bees. and brilliant for small birds nesting as well. So, you know, it can't be underestimated, the value of old built heritage. I suppose I describe of how things happen as within a circle. And if the circle doesn't join up, even if it gets to 99% of the way and it doesn't get all the way, the cycle is broken. So it's about just a little, it's like our seasons. Our winter rolls into our spring in our summer, and then we're back to winter. But we have that gradual rotation. And it's the same way with our insect. It has to have a place for it to have it born. It has to have the food source to feed it. It has to have the habitat to mind it. And it has to have a place for it to rest, that it's able to start the whole process over again. And that's the same for us all. I suppose if there's one thing that we have to look at is how much damage can be done with a big track machine or digger in a couple of hours. It can take hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years for these lovely natural habitats to develop and come into what they are. And they can be just within hours or days, it can just be wiped off the map. And all the schemes and money in the world, none of us is going to be around to see. And it's going to be artificial, because what is there has evolved naturally. And we're not as good at putting things back, is the natural way that the thing. And we're not going to see them to know whether they did or not anyway. It takes too long.